Tim, this is the last one.
Okay, we have one last one. You guys want to endure it or wait for next class?
What do you mean? I'm good with going if you guys are okay with staying like an extra 10.
Is anybody willing to stay to listen to him?
Yeah. It's only like a 30-minute presentation.
Okay.
Even better.
If anybody does need to leave, I know devotional is happening in 15 minutes, but if it's a 10-minute speech, we should be able to go and still get there. You guys okay with that?
Are we busting out all of our prompt shoes on Thursday?
We're gonna try.
Okay.
So we might need to bleed into.
This Thursday here or in the actual
He'll be in the
class?
actual classroom. Let's get the music going.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Okay. What if I told you guys that we were going to go on a field trip to Africa? That would be awesome, right? What if I told you I was going to take you to outer space?
Even better.
What if I told you I could take you back in time and you were going to experience World War II? Do not like that, right? So I can't actually give you any of these experiences. However, there is a way that we can experience these things, and that is through one of my favorite pastimes, reading books. If this doesn't scream homeschool kid, I don't know what does. I grew up with a ton of books. Our home, a conservative guess is maybe between 500 and 800 books in our home growing up, floor to ceiling bookshelves all across the living room. So as a kid, I grew up with 3 sisters, and my mother read to us. These are my 3 sisters here. My mother read to us almost every single day until my youngest sister, Danae, was in high school at least. It was years and years of reading and reading. This is me as a 16-year-old spending my summer with books and jelly beans. So as a kid, this is something that my family did. It helped us bond. It, gave us a ton of fun experiences and fun memories together. And as I've gotten older, I've learned there's actually a ton of research to show that reading has emotional, mental, social, and even physical benefits that we can all benefit from, not only as children, but also as adults. So this is a quote from Rick Gekowski that Brother Bruger uses in his Great Books class. This is just talks about a little bit about what is a great book, right? What you find in the greatest works of literature often involves some or all of the following: the high quality of the language, complexity of theme and detail, universality, depth and quality of feeling, memorableness, rereadability. When you read works of this quality, you often feel and continue to feel that things will never quite be the same again. And the research shows that that is true. When you read books, when you read great books especially, things will not be the same again. So we're going to talk about some of those benefits today in the hopes that I can persuade you guys to invest a little bit more time in reading, not just the textbooks you've got to read for class, but also take some time to read for leisure, to read for fun. So talking about childhood development, does somebody want to read this quote for me? Claire.
Words, spoken and written, are the building blocks by which a child's mind grows. Reading is not only essential to a child's verbal and cognitive development, but it also teaches the child to listen, develop new language, and communicate.
So starting out, we're just going to touch on this, but research shows that this helps kids learn and grow, right? It helps us to develop so many skills with communication. It teaches us new language. It teaches us how to connect with people. It helps us develop critical skills like, critical thinking, imagination, right? It helps us as kids, and it also helps us as adults. So here are a few other benefits of reading. This is from the National University and the Center for Adult Education, are where these references are from. So reading helps us build empathy and curiosity. When we read books, we read about different people's experiences. We read about things that we can't experience on our own, right? We can't experience World War II. We probably don't want to experience World War II firsthand. But I spent Christmas break one year as a teenager in a POW camp with Louis Zamperini. And I got to understand some of the trials that he went through and the ways that he overcame that and the ways that it changed, that later his life was changed through those trials because he found God and he found Christ and he was able to change through those trials. It gets us curious about different things in the world. It helps us relate to different people. It builds us vocabulary. Reading gives us new words in context, right? It's not the same as looking at the dictionary and being like, oh, that's what, serendipitous means. Okay. Well, if you're reading it in a book, it gives you context, it gives you examples, it helps you to learn new words in a way that you're going to internalize and you're going to be able to use them. Also, it reduces stress. Studies show that reading after doing stressful activities can lower your heart rate. It can help you to relax. It can calm your mind. It can relax your muscles. It can help you to focus, and it can help you to reduce stress, which can lead to better sleep. Studies show that if you make reading a ritual before bed, especially if you're disconnecting from electronics and you're taking time to read, it can create a ritual and create a habit where before bed you sit down to read. It's calming, having that calming effect on your mind. It's helping you relax. Right? It's preparing you to go to sleep. And as you make a habit of that, it can help your body every night prepare to go to sleep. And so you can sleep better, you can fall asleep faster. Reading, along with other like mentally challenging things like games or puzzles, reading can help combat Alzheimer's and dementia. Studies show that people are 2.5 times less likely to get dementia if they read and if they do puzzles and things like that. Reading is one of the ways that can help prevent that. And then improved relationships and socialization. This goes back to empathy and curiosity, right? Reading has become a much more social thing. There are so many like book clubs and online forums. You go to Reddit, there's a million subreddits for all the different books, in series and fandoms. Claire and I, part of the reason why we became friends so quick, we connected over books that we both read. I heard she was reading books by one of my favorite authors, and I was like, ooh, we're going to talk about this. We're going to be friends. It teaches us social skills. As we're connecting with different characters and we're learning how different people interact, we can experience, different emotions. And with that empathy, we can also start to learn how to interact with the world in new ways. So one of my favorite authors, Brandon Sanderson, he talks about why he writes and why books are so important to him. I absolutely love his story. If you look up the article Outside on his website, I would encourage you all to read it. So he talks about the feeling of belonging that comes from books. When he talks about how when he went through puberty, when he was becoming a teenager, he said everybody's emotions went crazy. He's like, my emotions kind of calcified. He's like, I don't know what kind of, he doesn't call it a disorder, but he's kind of like, I don't really know what type of neurodivergent I am. He's like, I don't feel these extremes of emotions like other people do. He's like, I'm pretty much kind of consistent. He's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I wake up every day, I'm about at a 7. And for him growing up, he's like, this was really hard for me as a teenager. It was hard for him to connect with people. It was hard for him to experience the same things that everyone around him is experiencing. And one of the things that changed his life was when he dove into reading fantasy. And he started reading about these fantastical things and these amazing things that people were doing. And he began to connect with characters and feel powerful emotions. And that is what led him partly to becoming such a great writer and what motivated him to want to write. He says, this is why I write, is to understand, to make people feel seen. I type away hoping that some lonely reader out there, left alone on a curb, will pick up one of my books, and in so doing learn that even if there is no place for them elsewhere, I will make one for them between these pages. Reading, aside from all the cognitive, mental, social benefits that it has for us, it can connect us. It can make us feel like we belong. It can connect us to people. It can connect us to experiences. It can teach us empathy. My experience with reading, like I said, growing up, it connected me with my sisters. It was something that we bonded over. I've experienced a little bit of what it's like to be a POW in World War II. I have wept with characters as they have cried, as they have gone through trials. I'm still not over a character that Brandon killed off in one of his books 7 years ago. Every time I read it, I'm still mad about it. And books, only books evoke that kind of emotion for me, that depth of emotion. There are so many times in my life where I felt alone. I've struggled mentally. All through high school, I didn't understand my mental health. I didn't understand that I was struggling with OCD. And one of the ways that I coped with it was by reading a lot of books. And that helped reduce my anxiety. It helped me deal with the burnout and the depression that sometimes comes with that. It helped me to feel those powerful emotions and to feel connected to people. So my invitation for you today is read books. Books teach us emotional, social, cognitive skills that can help us all live richer, more fulfilling lives. It can connect us to people. It can connect us to each other. It can help us to be better people and to be more empathetic and caring people. Brother Happy always says, give a speech, change the world, right? We need knowledge. We need to gain knowledge. We need to gain experience so we can give these powerful speeches so that we can have something worth speaking about. And one of the best ways that we can do that is through reading books, through developing those skills, through gaining that knowledge and that experience. So my invitation for you today is read a book, change your life. Thank you.